Hey everyone, thanks for coming back for another segment of Michigan Conservative Roundtable. Mac and TJ back at you. And I'd like to begin with a little recitation of mine. The old timers out there might recognize this. Watch out. You might get what you're after. Boom, baby, strange, but not a stranger. I'm an ordinary guy, burning down the house. For those who are old enough, that's the Talking Heads' first few lines of Burning Down the House. It's on YouTube. By all means, watch it. Perhaps enjoy it. Not my kind of music, but whatever. I especially like the first line, watch out, you might get what you're after. And given the events of the last couple weeks, I had to wonder if this might be the new theme song for the Bernie Bros out there. The reason why I say that is because James O'Keefe just recently came out with a couple videos, and he went undercover like he always does, and he had a guy penetrate the Bernie Sanders campaign, and they got some disturbing video of a guy. From what I understand, he is a Bernie Sanders volunteer, and his name's Kyle Jurek. And in this video, and I want to be somewhat accurate here, I'll say, you can hear a person off screen asking the question, so if Trump gets reelected, what? And then Jurek responds, effing cities burned. And then the person off screen again asks, do you even think that some of these, like MAGA people, Make America Great Again people, could be re-educated? And the guy basically responds, we got to try, leading him to theorize that that's why free education is so important, because like in terms of community colleges and whatnot, if it was free, that could be government paid for, sanctioned, ordained curriculum of re-educating those of us who just aren't with the program. Anyone who's watched us now for the last few months are aware of some of our previous videos. We just recently did one on why they think we're the extremists, and here you got this guy saying he's going to burn down the effing cities, but yet we're the extremists. Yeah. Okay? Mac did one, or pushed one that told about all the crazy stuff they did in the last decade, yet we're the extremists. September 18th of last year, we did a segment where we commented on an editorial titled, Will There Be Blood in the Streets? And that one goes directly to what this Bernie Sanders guy is spewing. Yeah. You know, right there is why we did that particular video. We've also done one on a couple cold civil wars, and boy, I'll tell you what, this guy could make the cold Civil War turn hot. Your thoughts so far?
Well, that sure sounds like what he's saying. I mean, do as we want, or you're going to be punished. And Kamala Harris said something similar when they get the White House back. Be ready, because you're going to get yours.
Oh yeah. And who was it? Gosh, I want to say a rock singer. I can't remember his name. Said when they're in charge, watch out.
Well, yeah.
And I wish I could remember
that guy
name.
Who played Zod on Superman, Michael.
Well, I wish I could remember the name. It's just that.
But he said that it's time for us to die.
Yeah. Leading me to the next quote I wanted to mention here is he talks about gulags. And how we may need to be put in gulags, and
they weren't that bad.
They weren't that bad.
Yeah.
The CIA made them sound worse than they really were, and yet going back to our previous videos, we're the extremists.
Yeah.
When we first started off, Mac and I, when we first started off on these segments early on, I did one on I've Seen Communism, where I talked about my experiences when I did border patrol on the East German border when they were still yet a communist nation. And And you look at this Bernie bro guy, and I'll throw out a disclaimer here. We can't say that the whole Bernie Sanders organization, we can't say that organization is what this guy is condoning or proposing. But I would tell you, he's probably, I would say there's a good chance he's typical of he's your typical Bernie bro.
Well, I'll tell you how you can get to that conclusion. Like you say, we don't have proof that we don't know all these.
And we don't want to say that's what Bernie Sanders is endorsing.
Well, but Bernie does endorse the likes of Fidel Castro.
Oh yes,
despotic tyrant, communist tyrants. And let's make no mistake, Bernie Sanders is not a socialist. Bernie Sanders is a communist.
For those who aren't aware, he went on a honeymoon in Russia.
Yeah.
Back when it was the Cold War.
Yeah,
okay?
Which doesn't make him a communist. Listen to what he says. That's what makes him a communist.
And to connect the dots here, this is why we touch on particular issues individually, but the big picture is this is why the Second Amendment is so important.
Right.
It's the necessity of the Second Amendment is right here. They want to put us in gulags. If the Bernie bro had his way, that's what would happen.
And when we don't capitulate, which I'm not going to, and you're not going to, then we're going to have to be killed.
Thing about the Bernie bros, I'll say the center left. You have right, far right, center left, far left. But the center left of the Democrat Party, not that Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg are center left, they could be more left than center left, but even Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg are worried about the Bernie bros. I don't know if you were aware of that.
I don't listen to anything they say if I can help it.
Well, I don't watch them. It's just that
sick.
occasionally I'll read an editorial in which they're mentioned, and I'll assume that the editorial's accurate. But Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg are basically begging the Bernie bros to fall in line. I think they're worried that Trump could stomp all over Bernie Sanders. And I'm going to use Joy Behar as the example per here, but for instance, Joy Behar may be more a Biden person than a Bernie Sanders person, and remember Bernie was a good soldier. He let Hillary pull her little stunt in 2016. I don't believe Bernie's going to let that happen twice.
No.
So if they try to clip him at the knees again, we'll say Hillary Clinton style, you know what? They could be burning down some Democrat.
Well, I think that quote extended. I remember hearing a similar quote from probably the same guy saying that if he didn't get the nomination, cities were going to burn.
So
that Milwaukee, in particular, where the Democratic convention is going to be held, it was going to be burned down.
So, anyways, we just wanted to share the Bernie bros, and closing thoughts would be, watch out. You might get what you're after. And as we say here at the Michigan Conservative Roundtable, be safe, watch your six, and do not tread on me.